This episode is fueled by Capitano's in Carlton, well known for its authentic square pizza and house-made vodka sauce.
Caesar and I went there last night. We had the deep dish pepperoni pizza. We also had the tortelloni pasta with vodka sauce.
Hey, tortelloni!
It was absolutely amazing. We also had a couple of beers. We had the Day Trip Pale Ales from Banks Brewing. That's a local Victorian beer. I'd probably give it a solid 9. Solid 9 out of 10. Customer service was great. Food was great. No real complaints.
Very generous 9, I'd say. Frank, I'd give it an 8 because the parking fucking sucks in Carlton. So. Honestly, I did a few laps
Rough.
and probably took me 20 to 30 minutes to get a park. But, you know, as you know, I'm not the biggest fan of driving. But anyway, I'd definitely go back there. I'd definitely check it out. I'd love to drown a bit more of that puff pizza in the vodka sauce, mate. But looking forward to the next meal.
Bit of deep dish. Babba-da-boopy.
Hey, bit of up.
Oh, dude, you fucking cracked my ear just then.
Hey, Frank, it's good to see you, mate. How's
What's going on,
things?
brother? Good, man. Good. Bit more
Awesome,
going on this
mate.
week in the fight world.
Yeah, a bit of stuff happening all around. I mean, locally, and I guess UFC back with a card this weekend. So keen to dive into that and just maybe do some quick picks on that one. But I want to circle back to HEX, which is fast approaching. It's only 2.5 weeks away, mate. But really looking forward to being there live in person. There's been a bit of a fight change. I don't know if you saw this, Frank.
I did.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, Cody Haddon, who has been, I guess, really eagerly looking forward to his second crack at the bantamweight belt against Sean Gauci, has had to pull out due to having glandular fever, an enlarged spleen. He's not been medically cleared to fight due to the, I guess, risk of having a ruptured spleen, which nobody wants, especially our boy Cody. But the Evergame veteran Paul Loga is stepping up. So Paul's had a lot of experience. He's fought at Eternal. He'll be stepping up looking for a finish on short notice and looking to get a crack at that belt.
Yeah, I suppose that's kind of the thing, with the regional stuff, right? Like, you need to be taking these opportunities when they come. 2 weeks notice, no one wants to be taking a fight on 2 weeks notice. It's not ideal, but, title fight, obviously, you got to take the opportunity while it's there. I think it'd be a good opportunity maybe to even get him on the show and have a bit of a chat with him and see how he's feeling leading up to even taking a fight on 2 weeks notice. Yeah,
absolutely. You got to think, with the new matchup, he'd be feeling a certain way about it. He's having to switch up his approach. I'm sure he's just finishing his camp as normal, but there'll be a bit of a mindset that he has to take this into. We've seen, some people tend to shine on a short notice fight, whether you're the challenger or the winner, or the defender. So, we'll see how they feel. I'll reach out to them, see if we can get them on.
We were just talking to Harry last week when he was saying that, like he's one of those guys that you get on the big stage and you end up performing better than you would if it was something you might have been planning for 12 weeks. So, yeah, we'll see how that one plans out.
Yeah, for sure, mate. I know Sean's been very vocal about getting a UFC contract. He's been the champ for some time now, so I'm sure he's chomping at the bit to make a statement and sort of run off into the sunset, move on to the big leagues. I guess quick segue now. Into the UFC Fight Night, Derek Lewis with Almeida in Brazil. It's going to be a fun one. It's a bit of a shit card otherwise, hate the shit on it, but not a lot that I'm too excited about here. But with some of these ones, they can turn out to be absolute sleeper cards, as we know. So yeah, I'd say we can probably start with the main card and talk about some quick picks.
I think the thing with Almeida as well, I can't believe he's a heavyweight. Like, you look at the guy, if you looked at him in isolation, not standing next to another big guy, you'd be thinking, dude, this guy is a middleweight. The way that he's shredded, the way he moves, the way he implements his game. You don't really see like a very heavy jiu-jitsu based submission artist in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, we might as well start at the top then. When Jailton Almeida burst onto the scene, he was actually fighting at light heavyweight. The problem was that his opponents kept pulling out, so he just didn't cut weight, and he just took short notice replacements that were at heavyweight.
Yeah.
And now he's on a heavyweight title run, which is awesome to see. This guy is an absolute tank. As I think I said on an earlier episode, it's not just the fact that you know, he's really athletic, he's really explosive, he can take people down at ease, or he can strike with them, and he's very comfortable there. It's the fact that when he gets them down there, he suffocates them. He does not let them get up. He's always threatening something, whether it's a massive punch that's coming, whether it's a submission, or advancing positions as well, just throughout passing guard, you know, or taking the back or keeping someone down. He's always threatening something. So that person's always in a bit of a defensive mode, and it's hard for them to put one foot in front of the other and get up. Funnily enough, I actually saw a video the other day of just a compilation of Derek Lewis just getting up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I saw the jiu-jitsu isn't real. Derek Lewis just pushing people off him from off his back. But if you were to pick the way that this one's going to go, man, I can't really see, like, I mean, it's been a crazy year for upsets and stuff, and Derek Lewis usually goes in as a bit of a dog into most of the matchups that he is because of his sort of one-dimensional game. I just don't know if Jailton Almeida is that guy, you know, that's going to put himself in positions that's going to allow him to have a stand-up striking battle with Derek. I mean, maybe if he does that, then that's probably his worst case scenario of potentially losing. But yeah, like we said, I see this as a 1.5 under sort of deal.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I think this fight will be over pretty quickly. It's about as fast as Derek Lewis got a speeding ticket. I think it was going over 200 kilometres an hour in a Lamborghini earlier this week. So I think they'll be out of there pretty quick. But yeah, onto the co-main event. What do you think?
So Nicholas Dalby, I have a list of guys that I usually put in my little black book in the back of my head that whenever they're fighting, I like to remember that if they're an underdog, I'm going to put some money on them. The Dirty Bird is another one who I love. The Dirty Bird as an underdog. Nick Dalby's also that guy. He's got the Max Holloway wings on his back, the Tony Fergusons, as we like to call them. But I always like him as an underdog. He's kind of that young, skinny, fat, old school, but still young dude sort of veteran that can always come in and take on these guys. That he's always live. That's how I like to see it. He's also going up against Bon Finn, who's also that guy, you know, 15-0, sort of not really looked in trouble, I guess. So this one, I would assume that he's probably going to be, I haven't looked at the odds yet, I can assume that he's going to be somewhat of a dog. But that O's always got to go, you know.
Dalby is a vet. He's one of those guys that's kind of very well-rounded, and you know he's always going to be in shape. He's not going to get tired. I do think that Bonfin and his brother, who's actually on the card, and we'll get to him in a minute, but Gabriel Bonfin is just one of these guys that is that new generation of fighter that doesn't really have a lot of holes that you can exploit easily when you're a veteran of an old school, more of an old school style and more of a simplistic style with the basics. I just can't see Dalby giving him much problems. I think Gabriel will take control of the fight, win every round, if not get a stoppage.
Yep. Yeah, if I was to pick with my head and not my heart, you know, it'd probably be with Bonfin. I see Dalby, and I always like to go with those underdog numbers that come with him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he deserves the respect, rightfully so.
22-4, man.
It's a good record. It's a good record. I mean, it's up there with the likes of Darren Elkins, you know, something like 25-5, but let's not compare him to the damage.
Surely Elkins has got to have more than 5 losses at the moment.
Might be 7, might be 8. I just have a soft spot for the guy, you know.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the rest of the fights of note. We've got Chai Baralo, who love this guy. Honestly, he's just such a mysterious character. Really interesting tattoos. He's got that neck piece there, and he's up against Abus, who's coming off that loss against Strickland.
Looks like he got hit by a bus.
A bus.
Kaio is that guy that he was hyped off coming off the Contender Series, and I think that he hasn't looked unbeatable in the UFC. Obviously, he's been coming up against a couple of tough guys, but no one picked Strickland to beat Abus, and now he's been, you know, stopped, and for lack of a better word, exposed that, you know, he blew his load in the first round, man, and he kind of gassed out. And I don't know if Kaio is that guy that you want to be doing that against. I'd be really interested to know what the odds are for that fight. But I think it's going to be fun. They're both earlier round fighters, so I think it's going to be a lot of action early. But yeah, happy that one's on the main card. I reckon that one's going to be good. Yeah, the biggest question mark on this one is Abus and his petrol that he's got in the gas tank. That, we saw him throw his whole wad at Strickland in round 1, and then he just
fell apart. And Strickland's not the guy you want to do that against. Strickland will be there until round 20. So it clearly showed that he needs to pace himself and needs to settle into this fight. Now, it is a 3-round fight, so that might help him out a bit. He might have the UFC jitters past him at this point. But Barallo is one of those guys. He controls the fight. He wrestles a lot. He gets a lot of takedowns, and he's just always on you. So I feel like it's a good matchup for him. I'd like to favour him in this fight. And he's looking to make it, I think, 13 in a row, which is a streak that is quite impressive at middleweight. I actually can't remember the last person that's been on a streak like that. I know it's not all in the UFC, but I think the ceiling's high for that guy.
I don't know if there's ever been a better segue on this show with gas tanks than transitioning into your boy Rodolfo. And
yeah, I mean, I was a big fan of this guy coming in. You know, I think Joe Rogan was a big fan of him when he was fighting Fluffy Hernandez as well.
Yeah,
and you know, he is a beast. He's a beast on the ground. He's won those jiu-jitsu world titles. Last thing you want is this guy to get a hold of you early when you're not sweaty and when he's got a full gas tank. But you know, he's up against a guy who is a very, very good, well-rounded kickboxer, Armen Petrosian.
That's it, man.
This is pretty much a classic fight. It's can Rodolfo get him down early, or can Armen stuff the takedowns and get him tired by jabbing him to the head and putting all those strikes on him? Pretty simple one. It's either going to go one way or the other like that. I think I'd just like to see if Rodolfo has improved his gas tank. Hopefully Armen can take him to the deeper waters and we can see that. It'd be nice to see what's happened there.
Yeah, I think, like, I do like to say, you know, everyone likes to have a couple of stand-up fighters that know how to, you know, seeing two, like, elite strikers going at it is always fun. But I do like this element of MMA where you get to see two polar opposite disciplines going at it. And I think that this is just going to be who can implement their game more. Like, we've seen guys that are elite strikers that can hold off guys, you know, if they can stuff a takedown and stay out of range, you know, for shots and things like that. I think that's just got what it's going to be. It's going to be, let's see who can implement their game better. So yeah, definitely keen for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And last but not least is Ismail, brother to Gabriel Bonfim. So he's up against Vince Pichel, who always brings hell. He's always game. So look, not much to say about that. I think Ismail either continues on his run or Vince gets back on another run there at lightweight.
I don't want to put him in the same category as Nick Dolby and the Dirty Bird, but yeah, Vince Pichel is one of those, you know, those vets that can come in and expose you with experience. Like, his experience can come in if someone's not on their game for that night. So it does seem like the Bonfim brothers are sort of those, you know, on that upward trajectory of being the prospects that, I mean, they're not even prospects anymore. They're those guys that are working up the ranks, but they've just got that notable name. But if there's anyone that can kind of stop the train, you know, it's those experienced vets, like guys like Vince Pichel.
Yeah, and he's had some notable wins over other vets like Jim Miller. So I think this will be a real big test for Ismail. I don't know if we should go to the pub for this one or not. I mean, I've got Monday off. It's public holiday Tuesday. I'm taking a 4-day weekend. I kind of prefer to be a piece of shit on the couch and watch this one. What do you reckon?
That's it, bro. Doors open. Let's go.
Awesome. Maybe we'll get a nice breakfast somewhere nearby in Hawthorne or Richmond, but we'll see how we go.
Beautiful.
All right. Always a pleasure. Talk to you soon.
No worries. Catch you, brother.